Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video you're going to learn how to master your tech house or house music tracks in FL Studio. Definitely make sure you watch the whole video from the beginning till the end, because you're going to understand exactly what mastering is, what it is for, how we're doing it, and I'm also going to share with you my step-by-step process, how I master my tracks to release my tracks also with professional record labels like Mojohead Records, Lisbon Journeys Records and Total Freedom Recordings. The track we're going to go through today is called Falling For You. I'm releasing this specific track on the 8th of December 2023 with the record label Mojohead Records. Definitely make sure you check that out. The link up for that is under the description. And also make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel to not miss out any tech house production or house music production tutorials. My name is David Fritz, and let's get straight into FL Studio. First, we have to ask ourselves, what exactly is mastering? I personally believe that mastering is this last step before you release a track. After you already produced the track, all the melodies are written down, all the vocals are recorded, and also all the mixing stages are done, all the low frequencies are cut out, and all this process is done. And mastering is basically bringing your track from, let's say, -6 dB peak volume to this 0 peaked volume. Like, so it hits the 0 peak, doesn't go over 0 dB, because otherwise it would clip and it would literally distort. And especially when we produce EDM or house music, we need to make sure that the DJ who wants to buy our track, he can play it as loud as all the other already released tracks. And there are specific things we can do, and I'm going to share with you now in FL Studio what process I'm going through to make my tracks as loud as possible, and also to polish them a little bit to get the last 5 or 10% out of those tracks. Before I even start like going on the mastering chain or anything like that, I export the file in -6 dB peak volume. Okay, we're going to go through like a few plugins I'm using here. There's a few plugins I'm using which is going to make this whole process easier. For example, I'm using this one here, and this is going to show me exactly the peak volume. The LUFS is going to show you the average energy level, the average volume, and this is going to help us a lot to find out. And we're going to also use a reference track. But in this way, I'm just going to have I have this audio file which is at -6 dB peak volume. And as you can see, there's like certain parts of the track, for example here, where it's more quiet than on those parts of because this is where the drop hits, this is where the bass is usually playing. We need to make sure that we're going from those loudest part of the track. Let's just go quickly here and see what the peak volume is. So as you can already see, the peak volume is at -6 dB and the LUFS is around -16.2, but our goal target should be between -6.5 LUFS to maximum -8 LUFS, and the peak volume should not go over 0 dB obviously. Now it also depends on what the goal is. For example, if you just master the track and you want to bring it straight to your USB stick and you want to play it as a DJ, you should definitely bring it to 0 dB peak volume, because this is like the loudest it can get without distorting. If you, for example, release your tracks through Spotify or like those streaming platforms, YouTube and stuff, you need to make sure that the peak volume is maximum at -1 dB. And this is, by the way, the same track already with -1 peak volume. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring the audio file to a similar loudness level as the reference track, which is something like this. Okay, and then we're going to put on the master channel Ozone 9. And then when I use Ozone 9, I go usually through different processes. For example, I'm using the stereo imager to make sure that the low frequencies, everything between 0 and 150 Hertz, is actually completely mono. And then the more up we go, the more like we can play a little bit with like the stereo field and stuff. So the most important thing is that this little knob doesn't go below 0. If it is always between 0 and +1, that's perfect, because if it goes under 0, that means we're gonna have phase issues. And basically phase issues mean that it's gonna lose volume and energy, especially when you mix it and when you bring it out. Pretty happy with this imaging already. And then I use the maximizer, which is like the ultimate plugin. It's like a limiter which like pushes literally the loudness to the maximum level. So we're gonna put the ceiling to, let's say, -1, because that's our target, because we want to release it over Spotify. And the threshold obviously describes when this like limiter is gonna start and kick in. We want to make sure that the transients still come through. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna just export the file, and then this is what's gonna come out. It's gonna look very heavily compressed. And then you can definitely repeat this process with the maximizer, export the file, see if it has the same LUFS, if it has the same average loudness, if it has the -1 dB peak volume, if it ranges between -7 or -8 LUFS, you know exactly that this track has enough energy, and also compare it to the already professionally released tracks to make sure that you're not having any differences, like maybe this track is way too stereo, or making sure that the bass and like the kick is like punching through the mix. But those are things you should definitely also make sure and consider when you start mixing the track. Anyway, this was my video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to get those templates, as I said, make sure you go in the link in the description. Follow me on Spotify. I've released a few tracks, and this track is also coming out on the 8th of December. It came out already, so definitely make sure to check that out fully, already mastered, and I'll see you guys in the next video.